All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have some background noise. I've got Oreo playing, so he's got a squeaker. If you happen to hear that squeaker, it won't bother me as long as Oreo stays in some sort of time, some sort of rhythmic pattern. But it might, be a sonic disturbance for you all. But I've tried to keep Oreo some sort of rhythmic consciousness in him by playing great music. Anyway, this is my Puffco Peak Pro, and I use it for medical cannabis. As I took my trip across America with Smokey, first thing I noticed is that not a lot of states have medical cannabis stuff and recreational cannabis, things like that. But what I found is that the recreational cannabis industry has kind of given people like myself a black eye because people want to immediately call me a doper, a pothead. And this is for simple illustration, anecdotal evidence of what I've been telling people all around me. And now actually Smokey Saint can bear witness to this since he lived with me for over a month. And just so you know, it's strictly a platonic relationship, by the way. Uh, so I am not affected biologically the same way other people are affected by substances. And I'll be careful with my transparency here just so the turds out there don't take it and try to use it against me. But my brain is not like everybody else's. They call my brain neurodivergent, which means substances, once again, don't work the same way. And I met somebody just like me at one of the medical cannabis stores. I believe it was in Illinois. And I mentioned the fact that, I use this for my ADHD and I'm titrating off of pharmaceuticals, which almost killed me, which is another issue. Caused me to gain about 70 pounds, stripped my body of all hormones, and my chemistry was very, very off in my brain. So it literally almost killed me. But I digress. So I met this gal, and I mentioned the fact that I don't get high off of cannabis. And the reason why I know that is because I actually tried. I'm a scientist, and in the same way, some of the earlier scientists would literally put their fingers in their eyeballs in order to pull their eyeball out and, doing scientific stuff. Well, I do scientific experiments on myself from time to time. Some of them, probably not too smart, the whole ADHD thing. Sometimes you impulsively do things and then you're in the middle of it and you think, this is a bad idea. Let me give you an example. I had some frustrating circumstances yesterday. Happened to do a transportation. And so I'm so frustrated, I decide I'm going to walk to Modesto, which is about 20 miles. Well, I get about 5 miles down and I think, it's hotter outside than what I actually realize. And I'm starting to really sweat, and nobody wants to see a 50-year-old man walking down the side of the road without a shirt, that's for sure. So I decided I was going to sit there in the shade for a while, and anyway. So that's kind of how it is with people like us. You get a bad thought or you get a decision, you do it, and anyway. So I did some testing on myself just to see how much Delta 8 I could consume before I hit that level of buzz. I can't hit it. And I met somebody just like me. And she did admit that she could get herself to a slight buzz level on cannabis. But for me, it just calms me down. and especially Delta 8. It literally helps my ADHD so much that it makes me smarter. That sounds crazy, but it really heightens all of my senses. And I can, since my brain is kind of cross wired anyway, I'm going to be getting tested to see if I have autism for sure, but there's kind of a provisional diagnosis on me to be slightly autistic. I would say low level autistic because I'm not that bright. But there are some things, for example, the letter A has to be read. And I actually almost called it the letter red. And I had to stop myself. Now, the letter B has to be blue. Now, that might be just because blue, B, and blue, the color, phonetically start off sounding the same. Now, that could be the association I'm making there because I do have the ability to make extremely obscure associations, and then normal associations, but I even have the ability to make associations based on a vowel repeated in a word. Let's say words with three vowels. I can take a topic that has the entitlement that has, say, maybe three words of one syllable or just something like that, and I can make an absolutely crazy comparison. But anyway, so I make all these kind of weird things, but so I might even be autistic. I can see music. I can see the notes go by in my head when I concentrate on music. And I can see the literal staff and tones when I look at guitar music. And I actually don't, I'd have to think about it really a long time. I'd have to concentrate to tell you those tones, whether that's an F, F sharp, B. But when I hear guitar musics and I'm concentrating, I can see the musical notes literally in my head. So music has this visual correspondence in my brain too. I don't know if that's autistic or what, but all I'm saying is this: God has provided cannabis for people that struggle like me. And because of the abuse, it's become a taboo. And because of the government, it's become a taboo. And I wish people would stop with the making fun of something that literally saved my life. Literally saved my life. And that's all I'm going to say. Shame on you folks that vilify those of us that understand that we need it medically, and then those that use it recreationally, but they're actually using it medically. And what I mean is this: I self-medicated for years because all I wanted to do was feel normal. I wanted to be normal. More than anything, I wanted to feel normal. Let me say that again. More than anything, I wanted to feel normal. And there's a lot of people out there like that. I met a gal at the smoke shop a few months back, and I started telling my story, and she overheard. And she said, "Thank you," because she found out I was a Christian and also a pastor. And she said right before she came down to the smoke shop, her children were vilifying her for smoking pot or being a doper, and it broke her heart. It broke her heart. That happened to me more than once, and even happened yesterday. My need to take care of, number one, the horrendous withdrawals I go through night after night. They're getting better, but now they're getting worse because I made some adjustments to prove a couple things to some people. But it's sad that I have to make myself a scientific experiment in front of people before they'll believe me. But anyway, I'm just rambling here. A lot of stuff has happened even over the last few days since I've gotten home. So come with me on my journey of healing as I try to cope with ADHD, the possibility of being officially on the spectrum. You know, my life's transparent. I have nothing to hide. And I'm hurting right now. So bad. Hurting deeply, deeply, deeply over, well, really everything. So come along for the ride. This is going to be a part of my final but not last word, and a part of my last but not final statements before I leave the YouTube worlds. And then I just post videos kind of like this, where I'm just teaching and I don't interact with anybody. So anyway, may God's grace be sufficient for you. It is, but may you know and understand that. I finally do. Even though it hurts bad, I'm okay just being alone anymore. So, God bless.